Mel and I are strangers now, aren't we? Can you get out of this house as soon as possible, stranger woman?
My eldest DIL said that and tried to get rid of me. Apparently, she doesn't understand to whom this house belongs. Fine, I'm done living here. A month later, I packed my bags and left the house. About a week after I left, my DIL called me in a panic.
Why do I have to be kicked out of this house?
I am a 62-year-old housewife. My husband and I have been married for more than 30 years, and we have 1 year left before he retires. So we spend each day peacefully thinking about our retirement together. We have 2 children, both of whom are already working and independent. Madison, our eldest daughter, got married 2 years ago and seems to be living a happy married life with a stable income from both husband and wife working. And Matthew, the eldest son, graduated from university and got a job at a large company where he is busy working hard every day. The eldest son lives relatively close to our home, so he often drops by after work to have dinner with us. How is your business?
Yes, I've been given another big project to work on.
Well, that's great.
My boss said it's not every day someone in their 20s gets a job of this size.
So they're expecting a lot from you.
Yeah, it's very nice of them.
But don't push yourself too hard.
Don't worry, I'm confident in my physical strength.
My eldest son has been running long distances since he was a student, so he is tireless. However, for my part, he has a tendency to work too hard when he gets into something too much. So I would like him to consider the distribution and pace of his activities if possible. He has been known to cut down on his sleeping hours to study for qualifications and then go straight to work. I am sure he can fool himself with the vigor of his youth, but I am worried that when he gets older, he may start to lose it all at once. He continued to devote himself to his work and was quickly promoted to a higher position.
As the section chief, I will have subordinates, so I will have to work even harder.
My husband and I gently watched over him who was so enthusiastic. He continued to work hard and contribute to the company. Matthew, you are amazing. I can't believe you're a section chief at a major company.
And to do it at such a young age is quite a feat.
Thank you. But you know, I've been thinking lately that I want to do something more exciting, something different.
What? What do you mean?
I enjoy my job at the company, of course, but I want to make my own way in the world.
My husband and I looked at each other. Is there something else you want to do?
Yeah, I'm thinking of starting my own business.
What? Starting a business? My husband and I were surprised when our oldest son suddenly said he was going to start a business. But isn't that such a waste of situation?
Yeah, you've been given a good position, and there's a good chance you'll be able to move up the ladder.
That's it. Even if I continue to work hard, I can only get ahead in the company. That's not enough for me. Of course, I know it's a tough road, but I don't want to die without being able to do what I want to do with my one and only life.
My husband and I were both moved by his passionate words. If he was that serious about it, as parents, we had no choice but to watch over him. I see, it's your life, isn't it? I'm rooting for you.
Make sure you do.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
The eldest son then gave up his title as a section chief of a large company and started his own company. At first, the company was not profitable at all, but he had always planned to start a business, and he had a considerable amount of savings. So he was able to concentrate on steadily growing his company without being in a hurry. A year or so later, the eldest son's company was growing steadily. The number of companies that signed contracts with him increased because they were impressed by his enthusiasm, and the number of subordinates who followed him increased rapidly. My husband and I smiled when we saw him come over for dinner once in a while and happily talk about the company's success. Several years passed, and our eldest son continued to grow the company steadily. Then something even more exciting happened. What? Marriage.
Yes, I'm bringing my fiancée.
Our eldest son was getting married. My husband and I were very happy. Well, he is now 30 years old, and it is not surprising that he is getting married. We waited excitedly to see who his fiancée would be. And before we knew it, it was the day our oldest son and his fiancée came.
I am Madison. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We are Matthew's mother and father. Madison, whom our eldest son brought with him, was very beautiful and had the air of a model. She had a beautiful smile, and a man would have been charmed by such a beautiful woman smiling at him. They had met at a party of a mutual acquaintance, a business manager.
I was the one who made the aggressive approach to Matthew.
I see. Madison was a cheerful person and told us many things about how they got together. My husband and I enjoyed listening to her talk, but our eldest son was a little embarrassed. The wedding greeting proceeded in a pleasant atmosphere from start to finish, and my husband and I both felt that we could trust our son to Madison. After the meeting between the two families, the eldest son and Madison had their wedding ceremony. As one would expect from the president of a company, the wedding was very luxurious. My eldest son greeted many people, all of whom seemed to be executives. I guess the connection between presidents is very strong. I was a little proud to see my eldest son at work. I had always thought of him as a cute little boy, but he seems to have grown up to be a fine man without my knowing it. After the wonderful wedding ceremony, my eldest son and his wife started their new married life. My husband and I were enjoying our old age, receiving a pension and taking it easy. In the meantime, we received another happy report from our eldest son. What? You're having a baby?
Yes, your grandchild was born.
To my surprise, my eldest son and his wife had a child. My husband and I were overjoyed at the birth of our grandson. Later, our DIL safely gave birth to a healthy boy. So cute.
He looks like an angel.
My grandson was so cute and really looked like an angel. His name is Kata, and he has a beautiful face and eyes, and he is going to be a beautiful boy in the future. Since then, my husband and I regularly visited my eldest son's house to see my grandson. But then something bothered me a little. What's that? You're not breastfeeding him.
Yes, because it's a hassle, and there are so many restrictions.
Oh, yeah. I was more comfortable breastfeeding.
I like to drink, so I'd like to drink right away. And I also smoke.
Oh, I was a little surprised. My DIL were not breastfeeding for their own reasons and were using milk. Well, it is up to each person to decide how they want to raise their baby, and it is not for me to say, but I wondered if they really cared about their own baby. And it seems that my worries and concerns were in fact correct. One day our eldest son came to visit us and asked for advice.
The other day, we were having a drink with the president of our business partner and came home late, but it was after midnight and Madison was gone, and Kata was crying all the time.
What?
Madison came home right after that, but she said she had gone to a convenience store, but she smelled of alcohol. I asked her if she really went to the convenience store, but she said yes and wouldn't tell me the truth. If she's still leaving Kate alone like that, it's not good, and I'm worried. It's hard for me to concentrate at work.
I know.
But I'm not thinking about divorce yet, and I can't take Kata's mother away from him.
The eldest son was very distressed. We were thinking together about what we could do to solve the problem. Then, as if he had an idea, he came up with this proposal.
If you were okay with it, I'm going to build a new house, so why don't you move in with me?
What?
Then we won't have to leave Kate alone, and I won't have to worry.
But is it really right for you to suddenly decide to build a house?
It's something I've been thinking about for a while. I'm currently living in a rental apartment in a tower block, but the high floors are often inconvenient, and I don't think it's a good place to raise a family.
We're fine with it as long as you're okay with it.
Thanks, I'll ask Madison about it.
The eldest son immediately asked his wife about it, and to his surprise, Dil agreed to live together. Then the eldest son immediately started preparing to build a house. As far as we were concerned, all we needed was our own room, but the eldest son made the house with us in mind, and the rooms allocated to us were quite spacious. The first floor was for each of us and our bedrooms, and the second floor was for the eldest son's family. The first and second floors each had their own kitchen, bathroom, and toilet, so in a sense, the house was designed to be a two-generation house. This would be comfortable for Dil because she would not feel as if she were living with us, and we would be able to run to him immediately if something happened to her grandson. After that, the house was completed and we actually moved in, and it was very comfortable and easy to live in. I really cannot compete with my eldest son who built such a nice house for us. However, a little while after we started living in the new house, Dil started going out at night, as he said. She used to do it secretly, but now that there were two adults who could take care of our grandchildren, she started to go out openly. Therefore, my husband and I had to take care of our grandson at night after Dil left. There were times when he cried all night long, and there were also times when he would not take his milk at all, which was quite a problem. Of course, the grandson were very cute, but our opinion of Dil was declining rapidly. She was going out at night so often that I warned her once. Don't you feel guilty for going out and leaving Katie alone so much? I'm not saying don't play at all, but it's almost every day. And you come home at dawn, so you sleeps all the time, right? I don't think you're being a good enough mother. I must have been very frustrated. I told her a little too strongly. Then Dil glared at me sharply.
Is that snipping your son's wife? Kata is growing up fine without any injuries or illnesses, so it's fine. You're living in the house Matthew bought for you, so don't act like you're so proud of. You have to work hard enough to take care of Kata for me.
I was surprised at the attitude of Dil. She had completely turned defiant, but to call taking care of her own son a form of labor was just too much. I was disgusted to discover the true nature of Dil. After that, I decided that I could not leave child rearing to her, so I started to take the initiative in taking care of my grandson. Dil, on the contrary, was so grateful to me that she began to skip housework and child rearing even more. I think she spent less and less time at home. My eldest son was also dismayed to see his wife like this. But more than that, my eldest son was having a hard time talking to his wife because the company was in a difficult situation. The most trusted right-hand man had embezzled the company's money. This became known to all business partners, and the eldest son's company lost all credibility at once. In order to regain that trust, he worked from morning until late at night every day. My husband and I were worried about him because we were watching him. And it seems that when times are tough, many sad things can happen at the same time. One day, my husband said he was feeling sick, so we went to the hospital and found out he had cancer. He was told that he had very little time left to live. I was very shocked. I had been with my husband for many years and loved him so much that I was convinced he was the man of my dreams. I thought we were going to have a happy retirement, but he was soon hospitalized. I wanted to visit him, so I asked Dil to take care of her son by herself. However, Dil made a disgusted face and said, "You said you would take care." of Kata, so please take responsibility and take care of him until the end. Until the end. Does that mean until he comes of age? Thinking about this, I thought I was a fool for consulting with her. Then I took my grandson to visit my husband.
Old Kata came too.
My husband seemed happy to see his grandson's face. It was rather a good decision to bring him along. My grandson also seemed happy to see his grandpa and was talking to him in a cute way. I wondered why Dil could not take good care of such a lovely child, but I guess for her, the child is not the most important thing, but she is the most important. I began to take my grandson with me to visit my husband on a daily basis, but those days were coming to an end. My husband was getting weaker day by day, and I realized that he really did not have much time left to live. And he was in a critical condition and passed away with me, our oldest son, and our oldest daughter watching over him. I am glad that we were able to witness his final moment together as a family. Soon after, his funeral was held. Dil had been out drinking with their friends for a long time, and I had not heard from them even though my husband was in critical condition. So she looked sick at the wake and ended up lying on the edge of the room. Not only me, but all of my relatives wondered how it came. My eldest son was also fed up and sent his wife home because she was a nuisance to those around her. When my eldest son and I returned home after the funeral, Dil was lying on the sofa asleep, and a lot of empty beer cans and snacks were left on the table, and the TV was left on. How selfish could she be? Does she not realize that she is doing something wrong? The eldest son was also troubled by his wife, but his priority was to rebuild the company, so it was difficult for him to talk to her properly. About 6 months later, something even sadder happened. My eldest son collapsed from heart failure and passed away. He had worked too hard and worn out his nerves to rebuild the company. He must have been overworked. I regretted why I could not stop him from overworking himself. I had lost 2 beloved family members in one fell swoop. I was truly shocked and saddened, but the problems were piling up. But I had a mountain of problems to deal with. Dil and my grandson. My grandson had just turned 3 years old. I could not leave the child rearing to only that Dil when I thought about the future. Dil did not show a single tear in spite of the death of her own husband. On the contrary, she showed no sign of grief. She probably thought that her husband was just a money grubber. I had suspected, but she was fine with it as long as she could enjoy her own luxurious life. After my eldest son's funeral, I could not decide what to do, so I just went on with my life. Someone has to take care of the grandson's life. Since Dil would not do it, I would inevitably do it. I had been living like that for about a month. One day, Dil came to me and her face was very stern. She stood in front of me and opened her mouth.
Excuse me, Mill.
What is it?
You and we are strangers, aren't we? Can you get out of this house as soon as possible, stranger woman?
What?
Because he's dead, isn't he? Matthew is dead. Then what's the point of you being here? You're bothering me, so please get the hell out of here.
Dil said so and tried to get rid of me. Apparently she doesn't understand who this house belongs to. Okay, let's just end our life here. Well, I have to get ready to move out and everything. So can you give me a month? When I said this to her, she shrugged her shoulders and said, "It's a promise. You have to leave as soon as 1 month has passed. It's ridiculous that it's come this far. I should be ready for this." A month later, I packed up my belongings and left the house. When I told her that I would take care of my grandson, she said, of course, which was impossible. However, I was glad that she didn't make any arguments with me. About a week after I left, Dil called me in a panic.
Why do I have to be evicted from this house?
Apparently, she had received a notice of forced eviction. I was struggling to hold back my laughter at the sight of Dil talking in such a panic. It is natural for you to leave there as it is now for sale.
Heh? No, 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 no. You put it up for sale on your own. What are you thinking? This is my house.
As I thought, Dil didn't seem to know anything about it. I'm sorry, but the house is in my name.
What?
Matthew bought that house as a present to me and my husband as a form of filial piety. At first it was in my husband's name, but after he passed away, it was in my name. So I just sold the house in my name.
Oh, no. Then what am I supposed to do now?
I don't know anything about that. You're still young. You'll have to work for yourself. I'm done with you. I'm hanging up now.
Wait.
I interrupted her and hung up the phone. I immediately blocked the call. I didn't care what happened to her from now on. Rumor has it that many people have seen her working in the nightlife district. Dil could not stop living a wealthy life even though she was left alone and her earnings decreased, and she went into debt. She must have had a crazy sense of money because she was the one who was playing at night every day. So she was inevitably to destroy herself. On the other hand, my eldest son's company seems to have been able to survive without firing all its employees in the form of an absorption merger with a major company as it was. My grandson and I were taken care of by the eldest daughter and her husband. The house that the eldest son built sold for quite a high price. And in fact, I had saved up enough money to pay for my grandson's tuition until he went to college. In addition, I have my husband's inheritance and a pension, so I have no trouble living. My eldest daughter and her husband warmly welcome us, and we are talking about renting a large apartment to live in when he grows up. I will continue to live happily with my family and support each other.